All right, well, I guess I'm hooked, everybody. It's Jake from the Bruin Show. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your support. Before we start the show, I do want to mention one thing that I recently ran my first half marathon, actual, half marathon, big old event type of thingy. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I did the Long Beach half marathon this last Sunday and had a blast. And it got me, along with my running partners, to decide to do some more of these things. So the first one that came up was the Rose Bowl half marathon that's happening on January 18th in 2026. And when I looked into registering for it, there was a fundraising goal that you could pick. And I said, you know what? Why don't I just do that this time? So I am fundraising for the Rose Bowl half marathon, and the money goes to the McCourt Foundation. If you've never heard of the McCourt Foundation, well, neither did I. It is a foundation that raises money to cure neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and MS and conditions like that. It's my pleasure to try to raise money for that event, which will be in January. I got like 100 days to raise my goal. And if you would like to contribute to my goal for running this half marathon, please look in the show notes. But I'll be doing this for a month or two, and I appreciate all your support. If you want to just cancel your What's Bruin subscription and contribute to this instead, I'd be more than happy for you to do that. I'm not going to bump you off the Slack channel or anything like that. This is a new thing for me, but I'm hoping I can raise some money for this wonderful charity and then go hopefully run the half marathon without dying. But without any further ado, thank you for your support once again. And here's the What's Bruin Show.
Hey everybody, this is Jonathan Ogden, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
Hey Bruin fans, this is David Singleton, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show. Go Bruins.
Hey, this is Wayne Cook, and you're listening to What's Bruin Show.
Hey guys, it's Chris Johnson, UCLA national champion. I need y'all to listen to the What's Bruin Show. These dudes are off the hook.
This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello, and welcome to What's Bruin. I am your host, Jake Merrifield, and after a one-week hiatus, I'm joined, he was here last week, but the show, the What's Bruin Show was on hiatus for 1 week because of the darkness. But the darkness has been cast away temporarily. But I'm here with my buddy, Mike Regalado from Bruin Report Online.
What is up, Jake?
And we're here to talk some UCLA football. And who thought we'd be in this position before? I said he was on Bruin Report Online.
Bro.
There he is. Mikey, damn. Just damn. Like, that was crazy,
This was a
right?
dead program. It was a dead program 1 week ago.
Call him Rasputin now.
And then freaking zombie actions, vampiric. I blame it on spooky season, which that's probably a good thing. UCLA has been resurrected.
No doubt.
Even if it's one game. Yeah, we're definitely getting ahead of ourselves. But because we were on an 0-12 track, even the majority of UCLA media, including us because we're badass, at the very least expected UCLA to go 6-6. Did not expect them to go 0-4. And even if you picked UCLA to win 6, 7, 8 games, everyone picked the Penn State game as a loss.
Yeah, no one thought it was going to go like this.
Yeah, and to go 0-4,
it's completely,
and then to smack the crap out of the Lions.
Inconceivable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, inconceivable. Or as Inigo Montoya says, who are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely right.
What the hell?
So let's get some Go Bruins.
Go Bruins, right? Four's up.
Where are my buttons?
Go Bruins.
There we go.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Yeah.
Go Bruins.
Wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. Now, Mike, we're going to have a terrific guest that I've been waiting to have him on for like years.
Mm-hmm.
It's none other than Nick Cope of the UCLA media team. And
he's proven to be just an amazing interviewer.
Fantastic guest. It was great to have him on. He gave us like 40 minutes of his time. He's just like Wayne Cook in that regard, just very generous with his time. So we have that to look forward to. We're going to talk all about this game. We're going to talk about the coaches. We're going to talk about even Michigan State coming up and as UCLA goes out at 9 a.m. to take on Sparty. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, this is the What's Bruin Show on the What's Bruin Show Network. Thank you for your support. You can look for us on the Patreon, patreon.com/whatsbruinshow, or just whatsbruinshow.com, or on the Substack, whatsbruin.substack.com. And also on YouTube, just search the What's Bruin Show and look for the UCLA-related stuff. And, Mike, we were canceled. We were donezo. Nobody thought...
We were dead.
when we were 0-1 and I boldly declared, there's no way
you
going
did.
0-4. There's no way going 4. You know what? If they go 0-4, I'm canceling the show. And
Yeah.
I meant it. And just because
Yeah.
Mike's crying, whining in the corner, saying, we can't do it. I'm like, I'm a
powering
man.
through, baby.
I'm a man of my word, goddammit. And you know what we did?
I had a tough childhood, Jake. I can do this. I can.
We had to buckle down. But we're men of integrity, Mike. We are men of integrity. So anyways,
True.
I reached out, when it was clear to me that, I couldn't leave Mike by himself. I was determined though I wasn't going to talk about
Oh,
UCLA
you weren't
football.
gonna leave me.
I was not going to talk about UCLA
were-
football for months until they hired a new coach. That was my plan. We were going to cancel that. We had a plan. But with some help from Dave, we rebranded. Dave from Riverside
Thank
is
you, Dave.
absolutely clutch. And he sent me all these great graphics. And I've never been happier to not have to use the coolest stuff we've ever gotten from Dave. Right?
I know.
Like
We
I
should
know
still
Dave's
publish it anyway.
Dave's happy too. Well, we did a little bit. Like it's out there from last week. But sometimes it's hard to be a Bruin and sing a song. But you know what? In a season in which no one thought UCLA would be 0-4 and it was absolute doomsday and we were hitting the bells and it was just the worst, the absolute worst case scenario, looking down 0-12 as more real, more likely than not, right? That's where we were. And that's why we canceled the show and rebranded and all that stuff. But this is what it would take. An absolutely improbable, inconceivable, unexplainable victory against a top 10 team with a team that absolutely, completely changed their character, at least for a week. That's the type of thing that got me to record a post game, after we canceled it, and do all that stuff. And if you didn't listen to my post game, Mike, it was me walking in circles in downtown Long Beach.
It was one of your best post games ever.
I appreciate it. Going off the top of my head, walking down dark alleys in Long Beach.
Yeah.
In the sunshine.
And just behind the scenes, at halftime, Jake texts me. He goes, if this continues, if they actually win, and I'm not saying they will, I'm going to do a post game.
I wasn't going to do it if they lost.
And I'm like, and yeah, in the fourth quarter, I think you texted me again, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to record something tonight. And I was like, we're back, baby.
Yes. And that's when the decision was made.
Yeah.
No more sometimes hard to be Bruin. Because you know what? When you beat Penn State, the number 7 team in the country, inexplicably, we can come back to What's Bruin Show for a while.
The first time an 0-4 team beats a top 10 team, this is only the 5th time it's happened in college, in Division I history, and the first time since 1980.
It's great.
That's crazy.
It's something I want to point to something that our good friend Wayne Cook said on the another show that he does. He'll do a million shows, but it's on the show that he goes on to occasionally where he sounds like he's talking out of a tin can because he's like, oh, wait till I want to say. Anyways,
nobody has good audio production as we do.
Nobody.
Can't hate.
Nobody. But anyways, Wayne was on there and he was talking about how UCLA football, people want to throw it in the trash. People want to talk about how bad of a job it is and all that stuff. But even in the worst 20 years of UCLA football history, pretty much, the aughts and the 2010s and the 2020s, other than Jim Mora, it's been pretty rough.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to be a Bruin. But
there were like
some of the highs that we've had are just like sick, like the Texas A&M game, the freaking Washington State game, and this game against Penn State. Like those are some pretty freaking high highs too, and unfortunately, other than in the Mora era, it didn't lead to tangible whole season success, but hopefully that's where we're going. Anyways, I don't want to get too far sidetracked, Mike. There's some things we have to do, and then we have to get to Nick Cope.
Yeah.
Mike, you were going to say something. You're holding your finger up. What do you want to say?
Just quickly, because I was thinking the same thing. I was on the field the last 5 minutes. I'm like, what if UCLA pulls this off? When was the last time UCLA had as big of a win as this?
Never.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
and it was
they've had bigger wins,
yeah,
more meaningful victories, victories that meant more for the program.
Yeah.
But as far as like a single game, like what the F just happened type of thing,
yeah,
I can't think of anything like this.
Here's how big it was, especially from a awareness standpoint. The fact that fans rush the field, and fans never rush the field at UCLA. One, because it's UCLA, and back in the day, you don't have to. It was the fascismos.
Hey, you know what I'd do if I was a security guard?
Dude, Jake,
I'd be taking somebody down.
At one point, I'm filming, and I have my media badge on my chest, but it came from behind me. A security guard, he didn't just tap me on the shoulder. He backhand slaps me and is like, get off the field. I'm like, dude, I'm media. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. But it was just such chaos that there were fans that were running onto the field. I got bumped into it. I was still doing my job. I'm a professional, and I was filming Nico. I didn't get to Jerry. I did not find him in the whole fracas.
This show's going to be 14 hours long.
I'm going to be quick.
But I'm not. But it's for a reason.
But here was my favorite part of the whole thing. This is what I'm getting to. Aside from all the confetti and everyone singing "Sweet Caroline" in the last minute, the best part of the whole thing, post game, I'm filming everything, and everyone's all the Bruin players are excited, running off the field, going into the tunnel. I find a Mr. Garrett DiGiorgio, and I kind of like mouth to him. He sees me. I'm like, Garrett. And I film him, and he comes up to me and screams in my face into the camera.
I love it.
And then
Send that to me, Mike.
And then he hugs me. This is off camera. He's like, yeah, look, we did it. He hugs me, sweaty.
Yeah,
dude and all. I'm like, this is awesome. Get off me. It was such a cool moment.
You know how many bodily fluids come out of an offensive lineman during a football game?
Don't care.
Like, I can only speak for the levels of football I've played. High school, some college, some semi-pro. There's a lot of fluids that come out of an offensive lineman. I'm just telling you, Mike. So when he hugs you, there's a lot coming off on you.
Oh man, this is one
good
of
luck
my
with that,
shirts. Thanks a lot.
Good luck with that.
But it was something to be a part of. So anyway, let's
tell me about the no. I said this is going to be an hour and a half or 13-hour show but I'm happy. I'm happy about it.
Yeah,
Mike, the actual rushing of the field by the fans that were there.
You know what's weird?
Describe that a little bit.
I didn't even notice it because there have been times where I've been on the field for a win, a big win, and it's just the teams go out and meet. The Bruins go out and meet the players on the field, and that's it. As soon as they take a kneel, still time on the clock, whatever. But at that point, the game is dead. I rush onto the field.
Victory
all the
formation.
media. Thank you. And I'm starting to film everything. I didn't even notice that fans were rushing the field until I look back and I see. I'm like, there are a lot of plainclothes people on this field, and then I'm like, oh damn, fans are rushing the field. This
we
is
had
crazy.
students there, right? There were some students there.
Oh yeah.
One of one of my favorite UCLA students, who's the son of friend of the show, the Buoys, Caden, was sitting in the What's Bruin Show seats. And
nice.
I don't know if that young man rushed the field or not, but I do know, according to his father, he was out until like 3 a.m. that night.
Nice.
And his mother was very worried about him, but he told his dad he got super duper lit, if you know what I'm saying.
As the kids say.
Yeah. But you said something, Mike, about the rushing of the field, and I would just like to remind everybody, like, I'm a man of law and order. I believe in rules. I believe in following rules, but I also believe in not following rules in the moment when they're irrelevant or stupid or shouldn't be there. And
Jake,
I don't think that people should be rushing the field during a victory over, a run-of-the-mill victory at the Rose Bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
Let those security guards do their job and keep people off the field or whatever. But when you have a moment like this, I'm going to go to what one of my favorite hosts of a show.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Gary Parrish. He's a very talented man. He's on CBS.
Mm-hmm.
He does Ion College basketball with what's the other guy's name? I don't remember, but he's really good too.
I'm blanking.
But Gary Parrish is a freaking man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy. But he'll often say something that is very apropos in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, when you are witnessing a singular event in college football, an inexplicable, unbelievable, inconceivable victory, and you need to rush the field, there's something that fans need to remember.
Yeah.
There's more of us than there are of them.
Jake,
there are more of us.
Jake, that message.
Than there are of
that
them.
message is more universal.
More of us than there are of them. Just remember that shit. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Now look.
Exactly.
If you're at the county jail, you're going to get a rubber bullet in your ass. You try that shit. Don't be fucking with me. Don't be fucking with me. But if you're at the Rose Bowl, there's more of us than there are of them. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only that's the only anarchist thought
Jake,
you'll ever hear me utter.
What is the What's Bruin show? More punk
than you.
Thank you very much. We are more punk than you.
The What's Bruin show
is more punk than you.
Okay, Mike, that was fantastic. Great poll. My mind was even going there, and then you came at it, and that was perfect. Great. So, anyways, I want to reset everything just for a minute. Okay, number one, we got more calls on the What's Bruin hotline, 805-399-4 WBS, Troy. More calls on the hotline than we've ever gotten, but like double the amount we've ever gotten. There's a lot. And so with that being said, that's why before this episode in your feed, you see a whole nother show, and that's just the calls. And thank you so much, everybody, for calling in. That shows, like, you don't have things like this happen all the time.
Yeah.
The most horrible, just the worst start in UCLA history, followed by one of the great victories in UCLA history. It's just nuts.
It's insane.
You don't have whiplash like that very often in sports, but it's got us all re-energized. And at the end of the show, Mike, we're going to talk about like the stakes of the rest of the season. And I am very cautious about that. I don't want to have any expectations about the rest of the season at this point. We'll talk about it
but
later.
I'm a jerk who looks forward and has anxiety and just has a million. I'm basically like
we need to live in the moment.
I'm Doctor Strange in the Marvel. Like I see all possibilities and I hate it.
Yeah.
I should probably get checked out for that.
Maybe change your medication.
We'll see.
That's all I'm saying.
We'll
okay.
see.
Anyways, so we had a call-in show before this. You have this show, which will be somewhere between 55 minutes and 3 hours. But that's this show. And then I also want to direct your attention to, I was on Reign of Troy Radio this week, and it's on their episode called Bi-Week Rotometer, because believe it or not, the Reign of Troy audience was wondering if this victory was going to bring the What's Bruin show back on the air, because they saw that we had went off the air. So yeah, we maybe some big kind of waves going on there. And then I also like to say, if you haven't listened to my post game, which I recorded, it was like a half hour walking around the streets of Long Beach.
Yeah.
I think it's a worthy listen as well.
Genius.
Had a lot of fun doing that as well. So listen to those things for us, and follow the Twitter at What's Bruin Show. Yeah. And guys, just enjoy the week. This week until they kick off against Sparty on Saturday. Yeah. Enjoy this week for what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have weeks come around like this all the time with that sort of victory, so you got to really soak it in.
Yeah.
Let the players prepare. They're going to prepare. Let the coaches
they've moved on.
They can do whatever
we
they
haven't.
do. We don't have to.
We won't have to move on
We
until
can
around
soak in
noon
this.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
Leo's running on his treadmill this morning. He's like happy as a clam. Smiling.
Hells yeah.
He came back from that horrible loss at Northwestern, and he wasn't expecting this shit.
He took some really good pictures, though. God,
He
that's
did.
a great
And
stadium.
he had a great time. He had a great trip.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're happy. Mike,
Yeah.
I would like to point out, just in the last 3 minutes,
Yeah.
you started grabbing the mic again. You're rattling around. There's a lot of
Dude,
ambient
I'm in
noise.
like punk rock
Stop.
mode. I'm like, I'm sorry. I got to remember that. We
Hands
also
off.
have a fantastic interview.
Hand check.
Like,
Take your hands off the mic, Mike.
Yeah, first night of the NHL. I got to.
I know. He's all excited. He's all
so
All
many
right.
things.
So look, we do have a great interview.
It's the
and it is.
most wonderful time of the year.
I know the NBA is about to start. I'm really geeked.
Right?
Mike, we did a great interview with Mick Cope.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen in just a minute. But I haven't talked to you. Like we talked to you about being on the field of the game.
Yeah.
I did my whole post game. That was a half hour. This is your moment right now to talk about the game that was UCLA beating Penn State.
Yeah.
The onside kick that starts with it ends with the safety, like with special teams madness. They had a blocked punt for a field goal go against them. This is bonkers crazy. So I'm going to play the Sounders that I thought we weren't going to play the rest of the season. And then I'm going to get your impression of Penn State, and then we're going to get to Nick Cope. Okay, so here we go.
Blue 32, Blue 32, California, California, hood, hey! Football.
The game that was.
So, Mikey, you were there. You were at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
I gave my seats away to a student.
Yeah.
I was trying to prepare for a half marathon.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about it later. But I wasn't at the game. I ended up watching the game and then listening to the game. But you were there at the press box and then down on the field. What did you think about this? Or just anything we haven't talked about yet, or that we don't talk about with Nick Cope? Spoiler alert, we already had that interview and we're going to plug it in here. But Mike, anything you want to say about the game other than what we already talked about?
Yeah, I'm just going to make this real quick because the interview that we have with Nick is just fabulous. So you get there and there's a GKG. They are on the ice. Sorry, little sidebar.
I distracted him with a squirrel.
The Kings are... the Kings start their season tonight. But no, I get to the Rose Bowl, 10 a.m. and for actual journalistic duty, there's a plane flying around the Rose Bowl saying fire UCLA AD Martin Jarmon. It did that. I mean, aside,
not pray for the message. I'm saying it's like it's a circus.
I mean,
it is absolute circus.
It leaves it intros such a dark tone to a game which everyone think is going to be dark in nature, just because you have a number 7 ranked Penn State team who has an absolutely fantastic defense and a really good offense, but behind a veteran quarterback. And so everybody's just thinking, like last week I predicted UCLA would get murdered 45-10. Nobody thought UCLA would come out with this game. So
Nobody thought they had
going around, it's still festive. That's the cool thing. There were a lot of Penn State people there. UCLA tried to do a blue out and everybody was like, yeah, read the room. Don't do a blue out. Especially since all the Penn State people came out in white. So the sunny side of the Rose Bowl was white, whilst the shady side, the west side, was all Bruin fans, blue, gold, all that stuff. Anyway, so yeah, we're like not expecting a whole lot, but Tim Skipper, who is
man.
I'm absolutely loving Tim Skipper right now. He's talked about how the team needs to start off quickly, and dear God, not only did they start here's the first indication that UCLA was on a different path. They win the toss and elect to receive,
Take the ball.
giving Penn State the ball to start the second half.
Turns
so they
out-
start. Yeah.
That was for a reason. They had a strategy.
Yeah. So they, the coin flips their way. They take the first possession and go down and score. It's like, oh, wow, okay. And it wasn't that surprising because we have seen UCLA score. Nico Iamaleava, very athletic human being. So they go up 7-0. It's like, oh, okay. The first time UCLA has led in a game at all this season.
First time.
I was like, okay, cool.
How sad is that?
Yeah, give the Bruins their flowers for their attempt. But then they do something unprecedented. Freaking proper. And here's another thing. They were talking about execution has been an
Problem.
issue
Bugaboo.
in the first 4 games. They perfectly executed an onside kick and gives UCLA stealing a possession from Penn State. Penn State didn't have their second drive until the middle of the second quarter. That's how much UCLA really took a deep dive into game dissection, and that was just perfect because even though it probably would have been more of a killer if they would have scored a touchdown, but the fact that they still got points off that second drive to go up 10-0 on the number 7 team in the nation, that just set the precedent for, okay, these guys are here to play. And even though, yeah, UCLA 27-7, they disallow Penn State to score on their last possession of the first half, and then UCLA comes back and gets
That was huge.
a field goal.
They steal a field goal.
27-7 going into the half against the number 7 team.
Yeah.
And you 27 points in the first half, and they're
Unbelievable.
averaging 14.2 per game.
Inconceivable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Mike, what I would say to that is you made a point about the coin flip. And I wasn't paying attention enough to see who won the coin flip or not. And I didn't realize that they took the ball first.
Yeah.
I am diametrically opposed to taking the ball first.
Oh, yeah.
Except
That's what was weird. Like,
No, no,
everyone
no,
was
no,
like,
no, no,
oh,
no, no,
they
no.
took their receiving?
Yeah, but we know
They
why
won.
now. We know why.
Oh, yeah.
We know why.
Yeah.
Because they had it scouted. And as
Absolute-
part of their strategy to strike first, they had the confidence to say,
Strike
you know what?
first,
We're
strike
gonna go out
hard,
there.
no
We're gonna,
mercy, sir.
Yeah, we're going to go out there. We're going to go out there, and we are going to score the ball, and then we're going to steal possession and score some
Yeah.
more. And they had to have the confidence to say that we're going to go out there and put up 7.
Yeah.
It's like they don't really have the confidence at that moment. It's like they're envisioning it
Yeah.
and they're channeling it, but they have to have the proof of concept.
I mean, it just.
But then they go out there and execute it, and then they get the onside kick. And so what I'm saying is that this is just all part of the
yeah.
team in this moment, which is a requirement, not just better coaching and better preparation and better playing by the players, but all of them had to just let it all hang out. Right?
Yeah.
This is the drop I wanted on the post game.
Sorry about that. Let it all hang out.
Let it all hang out. That's
Hells
what they
yeah.
had to do. And only if they had summoned that sort of energy
Yeah.
was the only way they're going to beat Penn State.
Yeah.
And they did the whole entire goddamn game.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
They did not let up. That was a great thing. And that was the thing. When Penn State came, charging back in the third quarter, like the whole game,
There was some adversity.
the whole game, everyone in the press box was like, okay, this is not shining it off, but it was like, oh, this is cute. UCLA did this and this. And then it was like, wow, okay, who's this? And then in the third quarter, it was like, 27-7, that's something. But then Penn State did come back. They had that block punt, which turned into a touchdown. They scored 14, 21 points in the third quarter. I was like, okay, here's where it all comes crashing down. Here is where we see the UCLA that we're used to in the first 4 games. But that didn't happen. They continued their strike. They continued their ferocity and did not back down. A la Tom Petty. And the defense, for as much as everyone's talking about the offense, which it should, Tim Skipper working with, bringing in Jerry Neuheisel to be the interim play caller, and Jerry putting in a new offense with only like 2 days and 3 hours of sleep for the whole week.
Cray.
I mean, it was just like every game that we saw in the first 4 games under Tino Sunseri. And honestly, I wish Tino Sunseri the best. I hope that he does have a good career, but it was just not working. It was you could see what was happening on almost every play under Tino Sunseri. And I guess the fact that Jerry Neuheisel kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's just how he did it. Tino Sunseri, there were a lot of...
I want to talk about this.
There were a lot of mismanaged run plays. There were passes out to the flat, and every time Nico Iamaleava threw the ball, it was basically to the middle of the field, about 10, 15 yards in that 10, 15-yard range. Jerry Neuheisel just busted out everything. But the fact that not only that you have the onside kick, but the fact that, there was that crazy shift, I think in the third or fourth quarter, where it was a direct snap to Anthony Woods and he ran for 20 yards. It was just it was stuff like that. And yes, it's weird that 4 games into a season, you can't scout a team to your advantage, but it's also really hard to scout a team who doesn't have an identity and doesn't have a head coach, offensive or defensive coordinator.
And I do want to get into this real quick.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're about to drop some pearls of what's Bruin wisdom right now. And before
as always,
just be a little, with no ego. That's what's coming. But I just had a thought, a couple thoughts. Number one, if there's a What's Bruin Show intern out there in waiting, maybe you're a student at UCLA or whatever, and you want,
we can pay him
some very nominal, if you're 21 or over. If you're under 21, we'll figure out something, maybe
if
lemonade.
You're 21 and under, we can pay in nachos?
Email what'sbruinshow@gmail.com if you want your job to be just clipping the pearls of wisdom from the show and putting on Instagram for Jake, because I'm not too clear behind the wheel on Instagram. But that's just, I'm throwing it out there perpetually. That job will be open if anyone wants to contact me. What'sbruinshow@gmail.com. But with that being said, Mike.
He's not kidding.
I'm not. But, Mike, so this is what's so fucking crazy to me, bro, is that last year we made such a big deal in the offseason about Eric Fredo Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Right? And how just dreadfully horrible DOA that offense was. And what was, I don't know if you remember, Mike, but the main problem I was suggesting with this, and it goes back when they got rid of Nomozoni and they got Kenny DePolamalu to come in with his offense, and in the offseason, all we heard about was how thick this stupid book of plays was. And we kind of heard the same thing with Eric Bieniemy, in that it was overly complicated. Do you remember hearing that, Mike? The overly complicated
all
offense?
The time.
Right. And so one of the things that I assumed about Tino Sunseri coming in, and we made
you're not the only one, sir.
Fredo versus Santino Godfather reference, right? Put Fredo on the boat is what I said in the offseason, and bring in Santino. And I was a believer that this offense would not only be much less complicated, but would run smooth, and they would be putting up points, and it was like a no-brainer because they got this great quarterback and yada, 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 and they still had enough talent. But that's not how it turned out. They were 0-4, and they had the worst offense in the conference and one of the worst offenses in the country, Mike. Yeah. And was that inexplicable to you? It absolutely was to me.
It was very bizarre.
It was bizarre. And then they switch it around. They bring in Nomozoni, for a couple days. They bring in Jerry Neuheisel for a couple days, elevate him to offensive coordinator. And then all of a sudden, like they're actually
technically interim offensive play caller
and assistant head coach.
I had to ask that.
Assistant head coach Jerry Neuheisel. He's still assistant head coach on the UCLA website. But the bottom line is, in a few days, they're able to change things around significantly enough to put up all these freaking points in a game, almost as many points as put up the entire season before that. And this is what I'm getting at, Mike. As simplified as we thought the Tino Sunseri offense was, it really wasn't, because it was a lot of, and I've heard this from a couple of sources about, what they were actually calling, and it was all about RPOs. RPOs are wonderful, Mike, if you can execute them. An RPO is wonderful because guess what? The ball is hiked and nobody still knows whether there's going to be a run or a pass or a swing or whatever, because it's optional within that play after the hike. There's some pre-snap reads.
Yeah.
And then after the snap, you're reading more and you're making a decision.
And not only that, can I add, Bet, that if you really look at it, the blocking, not just from the offensive line, but players out in the open, there were a couple times where it looked like some of the receivers were looking to see what happened to the play. It seemed like they were cognizant of where the defenders were, but as soon as they know what was happening, they turned, locked in on that defender, and just gave Nico or Berger or Woods or Thomas, just a lane to run through.
Yeah.
Like everything came together.
No doubt.
It was amazing. It was such, seriously, I don't cuss on the show, but what the fuck?
Right.
They went from dead in the water to, we're commando coming out of the water with
Pretty sick, bro.
mega rifles just taking out terrorists at every corner. Oh my God.
But bear with me, Mike.
I'm holding this microphone, Punk Rock Cell. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we went from Bieniemy, who had this playbook that weighed 72 pounds and was way too complicated.
Yeah.
To Tino, which we thought was going to be simplified, but it turned out that the RPO, even though they probably only had 8 or 9 actual plays, each play within itself had myriad options to go off of, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're actually trying to execute that, the running backs, the linemen, the wide receivers, and most importantly, Nico, the decision maker, has to make these quick decisions. And Mike, you complained through the first few games about how they just kept throwing the same goddamn swing pass and they kept doing the same thing and it was just very blah, vanilla, whatever. And what I'm saying is maybe with freaking Joe Montana or something out there, Tino's offense would run just like clockwork, just absolutely
probably.
amazing. But for this particular team, they were stuck in the mud. They were thinking too hard. They were trying to think through it and they were not executing to the tune of 14 points a game, which was absolutely dreadful. And what I'm saying is, you go from what we thought was Eric Bieniemy's super complicated offense because it was, to Tino Sunseri's apparently super complicated RPO offense because it looks like it was, to now you simplify it with whatever Neuheisel and Mazzoni threw out there in a few days. And now all of a sudden these guys are playing without having to think too hard, at least while the play's going on. And
having fun, it looked like.
Having fun and their natural we knew this offense at least had athletes on it. We thought that this offensive line could play better, and they did. And maybe it's just because it went from being a little too complicated last year to still a little too complicated first 4 games to maybe now we're simple.
To Jerry Neuheisel
going to go out there and let her rip.
I have 3 days. This is what I got. Let's do it.
But that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Maybe that's what it took. So
really simplifying.
I'm hopeful they can go forward and have more success this season. We don't know if it'll translate in win and losses. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But Mike, before we get to Nick Cope, which we want to, and he had so many great things to say, and it'll be the second half hour of the show. On the post game, I was walking around the streets of Long Beach, and I enjoyed my post-game show, but I did miss all my buttons and my ability to celebrate the players in this game. That was a game where players need to be celebrated. So, number 1, we're going to start with a bunch of Go Bruins.
Go Bruins, right? Go Bruins. Up.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins!
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins!
And then we're just going to let it rip on the players that I have buttons for. And I want you to say something nice about each of these guys, okay? So let me find where they are. Where'd they go? Bears. Oh, yeah, here we go. How about this guy? He had a nice play, didn't he?
Oh, dude, he had that one catch in the end zone where Nico got wrecked, actually, and he just threw a dart, which almost looked like it could have been picked off, but Titus was right there. Veteran player, caught it, boom, touchdown.
How about this guy? And God, if there's ever been a foot pass.
I mean, he came back at the right time.
He got the onside, right?
What was that?
I thought it was Rico. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm
going to imagine it was Rico, and if I'm not giving him credit for it, but I'm like, he came out there and he
either way,
executed that goddamn play.
Perfect.
He executed the play.
Perfect.
And that leads me to this guy.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no. With Bagani. I'm gonna play one more time. One more time. With Bagani.
You it's hard to ask someone who at that point was 9 for 9 in field goals to land a 80,000-mile-yard field goal.
No. Whatever. I don't want to hear about the field goal he missed. He made one over 50. He missed one over 50.
No, exactly.
But
that's
the onside kick, Mike.
Dude is so money
the
back.
Masterpiece with the onside kick.
Such a just brilliant. And you're going to hear a little bit of insight with our interview with Nick Coop on that situation.
Nick Coop, yeah, absolutely wonderful guy. And then this guy running hard in this game, his best game of the season by far.
This is a tasty burger.
The goddamn tasty burger.
And especially because he has not been
a tasty burger.
He has not been as productive as maybe a lead running back should be. And
if he is the lead, because there's another guy that also played well.
True,
but whatever.
But
we got 3 leads at running back.
Just great production all around.
And then, and I'm sad I don't have a drop for the third back that got some run.
Anthony Woods.
We'll have to come up with something. But
Timber,
my guy. Jet showing out too.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy.
Yeah.
I'm mad about the burger. I'm happy about Jet.
Yeah.
I love it. But it all leads to, and this is what I want to say. The last thing we're going to say about this before we get to Nick Coop. Nick Coop. We're both doing it.
God damn you, Jake.
Look at how it's spelled. That's all I'm saying. Love that guy. Anyways.
It's okay. I get pissed at people.
Rogaledo. Yeah, anyways.
Regaldo.
Yeah.
That's the famous one.
It doesn't
matter. Suck off, you dumb.
That's not important. we're celebrating the players. I don't know. Like, I was happy for this whole team. And I want to emphasize, and I emphasized a couple times, this was not just the Nico show. This was the whole UCLA football.
Yeah, Nico couldn't have done this without the entire team.
He got a bunch of stats out of this game, but everybody was playing their asses off. But with that being said, he was the guy who amassed all of the stats. And finally, for the first time in 2025, he earned this freaking drop.
Yeah, I forgot about this. Wow.
One more time.
I suggested this in the summer.
Yeah. And he was the man.
Yeah.
He was the goddamn man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we loved it.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. You have anything else to say?
No, I want to get to this interview.
All right. Here
Let's
we go.
do it.
Nick Coop, coming on. I've been waiting for this guest to come on our show for a long time. Ever since I met him a few years ago at a media day, he was like the nicest freaking guy in the world. And I'm like, dude, we need to have him on the West Bruin Show. We never did until right now. And I'm just saying, we've had Josh Lewin on the show. We've had Tracy Murray on the show. We've had Wayne Cook on the show a million times, but never the backbone of UCLA media. And that is Nick Coop. He's out there doing show after show after show after show with person after person after person. And he puts in the work,
grinding
for
every day.
UCLA. So we are welcoming to the show, to the What's Bruin Show, thankfully, for the first time, and hopefully not the last time, Mr. Nick Coop. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. I got to say, it's the first time, but Lewin, Wayne, Tracy, none of those guys got to come on after one of the most improbable upsets in modern UCLA history, maybe the most improbable. So I feel honored. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh no, it's our pleasure. And that victory was absolutely inconceivable on so many levels. And
still in shock.
We definitely want to talk about it. We got more calls for the show than we've ever had before, like by like a magnitude of like 3. I know it's crazy. But Nick, first I just want to start out talking to you about you. You've been part of UCLA media for a while now. How long have you been doing stuff for UCLA, and how did you actually get your start with them?
So I moved to LA, it would have been 2016, And I just cold contacted all the schools in Southern California that might be looking for broadcast work, sent them my reel. John Ramey, who actually did the Bruin Insider Show before me, going back, he's now the voice of Nevada. I just met him total happenstance away from UCLA, but he was doing the soccer games at the time. And he was nice enough when he was doing football and traveling with the team, he would have soccer games that he needed help filling. So he was like, hey, here's a kid fresh into town. We got along because he has Northern California roots like myself. So he basically, I had sent stuff to UCLA, didn't hear anything. But then when he needed a fill-in and he went to the people in the athletic department and was like, hey, I got these games that need filled. I got this guy who can do them. They're like, great, sounds good. So that was kind of how I got my in. And then gradually it was like, hey, we need a public address announcer for women's basketball or something for volleyball. And then really got kind of some traction in 2018 at the start of Chip Kelly's tenure doing the Bruin Insider Show. Brian Fenley was involved at that time, brought in Wayne and really beefed up that show. Was interviewing Chip each week for the pregame show, and then just kind of gradually built from them. Learned a lot from those guys, and then grew that role into doing pre, half, post. And then while the game's going on, I'm doing stats and spotting work, so the headset's coming on and off. So it's a total marathon on game days, but so much fun and was really gratifying after the first 4 games to have this one this past weekend for sure.
Man, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's funny. Yeah, I mentioned Lou and Murray and Wayne, and I forgot Fenley actually got started by doing cold calls on our show, like whatever, before he got the job at UCLA. It was pretty funny. He came to the house and was doing that. That's kind of funny. Anyways,
his reel was on our hardware.
Yeah, very funny. Anyways,
that's amazing.
Inside baseball, but yeah. So Nick, you guys, we talked to Wayne about a little bit a couple weeks ago, but that's one thing that's changed about UCLA football, other than all the change we'll talk about with the game. But you guys went from being on the other radio station, now you're on 790 for the games, which, you know, if you haven't done it yet, people out there, change your preset in your car and all that stuff. But other than that, you guys are still doing the same shows you guys have always done, right? The Bruin Insider Show, which has interviews with coaches and all that stuff. That's all kind of that. Nothing about that has really changed, right?
Correct. Yeah, all the same shows. So Bruin Insider Show every Thursday at 7 o'clock on KABC 790. And then, all the football games and then all the basketball games once basketball season gets started, all going to be on 790. No conflicts to worry about, no secondary station to worry about. So, get 790 on your preset. I know in the past we'd get bumped to a secondary station that would not have a great signal. Fortunately, 790's got a great signal. You'll be able to get it. In the past, I couldn't get the game sometimes in the valley. You won't have that problem anymore.
And that's wonderful. And it just sucks being bumped by the stupid Clippers anyway. But that goes without saying. Nick,
that's another podcast.
That's right. Nick, getting to this past Saturday, like. We actually canceled the dang show. We renamed it. We relabeled it in the wake of 0-4 and looking down the barrel of an 0-12 season. I thought that something drastic had to be done, and so we changed the name of the show to Sometimes It's Hard to Be a Bruin. I did a country song to celebrate it, and we were really down in the dumps. And then all of a sudden, this game happened. And to me, I went to school in the 90s, so did Mike. It was probably the most improbable, inconceivable is how I labeled it, game that I've ever witnessed, I think. I don't know where it lands in your book, but, what were your thoughts about, coming out of that game and what just happened? Like, what were your first thoughts about that game?
I think the first thing that struck me was maybe a little cliche, but it really was one of those games that just, you could not script this. You really couldn't. Like the layers of interim head coach, interim play callers on both sides of the ball. And one of the play callers was born at the hospital of the school that his father attended and coached at, that he later attended and came off the bench and led a miraculous comeback for the defining moment of his career to later come back and be a GA and a receivers coach and a tight ends coach and then get told he's got the job at Tuesday at 5 p.m. and then have really 2 days of prep because Friday's a walkthrough day. There's nothing new on a Friday. So literally Wednesday, Thursday to get that game plan installed, to then have said father on the set. Like the fact that CBS was even doing this game is a whole nother layer to have Rick then on the set reaction to it. Like that in and of itself is crazy. But then how his son gets to that opportunity, it was just, I'm sure you guys, like all of us, you always walk into a game hopeful, but no one walked in there with an expectation of a UCLA victory.
No.
Not a chance. No one did. And so it was awesome, man. It was so cool. I'm so happy for the players. I can't imagine how cathartic that was for them to go from, talking to those guys in the preseason. They were juiced. They were ready to go. They thought that they were going to be a really good football team this
We all
year.
did.
And then to have that, we all did. Yeah, the coaches did. I was optimistic. A lot of us were that this could be a bowl team and then a team to maybe they could push for 8 wins if everything aligned. And then to have that all come crashing down, I got to imagine that was so difficult for them. I mean, for me, and I'm sure for you and so many fans, the first basically through the bye week, it felt like a full season. Once you got on the other side of Deshaun being fired, it felt like so much. So I can't imagine what it was like to be in that locker room. And now they've kind of come out on the other side. There's proof of concept with a new coach that, hey, what we've been doing, this can work. We just needed some tweaks. We needed some new voices to come in here, help show us the way. Like we can do this. So the storylines are incredible on the one side, and then just really happy for the players because, as you guys know, covering the team, there's so many just good human beings on this team. So I'm glad that they were able to have this moment.
Nick, I want to ask you, you brought it up. We thought that they were going to be good. I'm sure you saw them in the preseason. We saw them, being in the media, and there was hope. And, there were a few times where, at least for us, access was limited, but we were still able to see it. And that's why we had hope about this. And then the 4 losses happened, and it's like, what's going on? At the end of the game, personally, I thought okay, this is the team that I saw at the beginning of the season. Do you feel like that's the same? And do you feel that, and you did talk about that there are a few tweaks. Not only is this the team, is this the team that you expected? And do you think this is sustainable?
Well, I'm not sure I even expected the team preseason to be Penn State, to be honest.
Nobody did, yeah.
But even preseason, I think I remember thinking, and we would talk as a crew, just saying to ourselves, I know these guys are better than they've been allowed to show. We have better athletes on this team than we've seen to this point. It has to be. It can't be that New Mexico has better athletes than UCLA, has better guys in the trenches to run for 300 yards. Just how can that possibly be? We're just struggling to wrap your minds around it. And when I say tweaks, I mean, I think just some basic fundamental coaching has really improved. I think one of the things that really stood out for me in this game, just the defensive fundamentals, the run fits, they were disciplined in their run fits, playing off the edge, and then just tackling in space. I mean, how poor was tackling in space in the first few games of the season? And what we saw, there were not a lot of broken tackles in this game by Penn State. UCLA was there, and they had guys rallying. Of course, there was a one Aller run where there was a missed tackle. But, I mean, by and large, the tackling has really, really improved. So, sustainable, I mean, that's $1 million question. I think that Tim Skipper has brought some really good energy to this team. Yeah. They're feeding off of it. And so I hope, I mean, knowing Skipper, he's having them turn the page. I don't think there's going to be a hangover effect for this weekend. Michigan State's going to be hungry. They've lost 2 in a row. But I don't see why not, that this can't, I don't know how many wins, you've got to still some solid teams. Michigan State's a little down. They've lost 2 in a row, but they've got good players. You got a lot of teams that are in the kind of the middle part of the Big Ten where there's a lot of swing games.
No doubt.
So I think with better fundamentals on defense, and I think with Jerry kind of taking this offense back to basics, this was not direct info, but kind of reading between the lines, I think the offense was just a little too complicated before. It was just a lot going on, and given that you've got a quarterback arriving in July, I think it was just too much for everybody. And so Jerry coming in, simplifying with Noel Mazzoni over his shoulder, I think this offense has got a lot more potential. I love the way they ran the ball with Woods and Thomas getting 4 yards a pop. Even Berger ran better than he had in the past. I'm sure you guys thought, I thought Woods and Thomas, despite all the losses early, I thought those guys really popped. And then Berger, really had to sledge for his yards. Berger looked the best he had all year in that game as well. So we'll see. It is a 1-game sample size, but, Penn State's got a darn good front seven, and UCLA controlled the line of scrimmage in that game. So that gives me hope and optimism that can hopefully translate for the rest of the year.
Yeah, just a quick comment before I throw it to Jake. Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. And to add to that, the offensive line did a hell of a job, but getting guys out into space, the running backs, the wide receivers, tight ends, they did a magnificent job of not only opening up lanes for the receivers, but Nico, who ran for 296 freaking yards. That was absolutely insane. Yeah, Jake, what are your thoughts on how this? They basically went from a dead team to someone that looks like they're a top 10 slayer.
Well, I mean, you can't overstate the fact that, when they were 0-4, there was really no hope amongst anybody that's outside that team. And now that's completely changing on a dime. But and Nick, I have a question about Skipper for you in a second, but when I said on my postgame there was a few things that had to happen for this game to happen. And it wasn't just the coaches had to coach better, and it wasn't just the players had to play better. They both collectively had to have in their minds the idea that they could go out there and beat Penn State. They had to have that determination because nobody else had the determination for them. And they go out there and they steal possession, and they go out there and they answer back every time Penn State's coming after them. That's why this game, in my eyes, the rest of the season is wide open to me. Nick, you talked about there being the coin flip games. At 0-4, those coin flip games are not coin flips anymore. We're losing, but now those are back to being coin flips. So you don't know what the rest of the season is going to hold. But Nick, what I wanted to ask you about next was just Skipper. I know you've had a chance now to spend some time with him. What are your impressions of him as a coach? This is a guy who had some success at Fresno State, taking over as an interim. Now he's at UCLA, taking over as an interim, and has one of the best victories in UCLA football history. What are your thoughts on Skipper just as a guy?
I really enjoy him as a guy. Wayne and I get to sit down with him for the Bruin Insider Show every week, and I mean, it is a breezy 20 to 25 minutes. Goes by so quick, and he's been very generous with his time, and he's very honest, which I appreciate. Wayne and I were talking about this the other day, how how there's those coaches that get maybe labeled that they're kind of wonderkins and just kind of and Skipper is just so unassuming, right, that I don't think he maybe gets credit for how smart he is as a coach. I mean, yes, you've got Jerry on offense, Kevin Coyle on defense as the play callers, but I mean, Tim, Skip, he pulled every lever correctly in Absolutely. This game. The way he used his timeouts, obviously the onside kick, of course, taking the safety was amazing. And I don't know how Penn State didn't rush the punt at all there, but you'll take it. He's pulling all the right levers. And so I hope people really take notice for how smart and how on top of things he is in all those little situations. And I think that's why this team had that belief you have to have confidence in your team to run the onside kick.
No doubt.
To do a different play like the safety, just because it is so ingrained not to do that for a player. But you got to have confidence when, the heart rate's up and the blood's really flowing, that your punter is going to execute that correctly. Now, obviously, coaches, they scout and they practice it. So it's not like that's the first time UCLA practiced that onside kick. And I'll tell you, I was at practice on Friday, and I'll tell you now because the game happened, but they practiced that onside kick. Pagani nailed it, and the team went nuts when it happened because Skipper had to see it in practice. And so once they nailed it, the team knew that it was on, that they knew that we go down and score, we're kicking off, we're going for that onside kick. So he not only has he demonstrated the acumen with all the situational things, but the confidence and the belief that he's installed in this team in just 3 weeks, I think is pretty remarkable.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, after the game, they're chanting Jerry, 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 understandably because of what Jerry means to UCLA. But Skipper had to captain the ship, pardon if that's a pun or whatever, but he's the one who had to get these guys all pulling in the right direction. He's the one who, as you said, Nick, is pulling the levers and making the coaching decisions, those big coaching decisions. And I think going forward this season, fans, we need to understand that not all his decisions are going to work out smart, but I think now I have a lot more faith just in what he's shown us so far, that whatever decision he does make, it's probably going to be a high percentage chance. It's going to give the Bruins a high percentage chance of success. It's not a guarantee, but he's going to be pulling the right levers. So we hope. And Nick, you mentioned Pagani and that onside kick, and oh my God, like if you could call a kick a pass, that's really what that was. It was so well scouted. It was so well scouted.
That was probably one of the most perfect onside kicks, especially since you saw the Penn State receiving team on that side of the field. They took the bait. They were ready to back off, and it was right in his hands.
That's why you call it. They obviously scouted that and practiced it, and it was wonderful. So
when you he said after the game, they were looking at kickoff returns for Penn State going back a couple years.
Oh, nice.
And they saw this tendency throughout games, and so they were like, all right, let's try this. And then my favorite part is when you go back and watch the game on the broadcast. The guy who was over there is just so far out of the picture.
Oh, like
he is nowhere near the ball. Yeah. That was
within 10 yards.
Truthfully, guys, that's the difference in the game right there. That call, you steal a possession from Penn State, and you have 2 more possessions in this game than Penn State because of that call right there.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. And that's the call that you make at the beginning of the game to set the tone. We'll talk. I think we'll talk a little bit more about the game in a minute, but that's what was the 2 most impressive things about that game to me were the decision to do the onside kick and the execution of it. Obviously, they were prepared. And then the second thing was in the second half, when it doesn't go their way, they get a pump block. They give up a touchdown off of that. Penn State's within 1 score, and yet the offense keeps going out there, and Nico and the rest of them just execute and are able to keep ahead of Penn State until the time ran out. And that shows how invested they all are now, and hopefully it continues forward. I want to ask you, Nick, about the assistant coaches that are now there as the quote unquote coordinators. First, with Coyle, he came over from Syracuse. He's like 11 years old, and he's just obviously an old head. But have you had a chance to talk with him at all and get his story? Do you know anything about this guy?
I haven't had a chance to talk with him, but I know he's been all over the place. And he's been in the NFL as a defensive coordinator as well. He was with the Dolphins in the early 2010s. So he's got some pro experience. Fresno State. He was the DC when Skipper was playing in the late 90s at Fresno State.
Oh, wow.
So
there's the connection.
Much like, there you go. So much like Jerry has Noel Mazzoni, Skip has Kevin Coyle helping to run his defense. They've each got their mentors there, so to speak. It's really cool. So I haven't had a chance to talk with Kevin Coyle, but I've heard great things from other people, and I think you've seen his impact on the defense already. I don't think this defense is, it's not top shelf. It's going to be a little bend, don't break, but I mean, they just held, truthfully, doing the math, right? 28 points. There was a block punt and then the safety. The defense gave up 28 points to Penn State. They forced 3 fumbles, only recovered 1 of them. And bend don't break. If you've got an offense that can start playing, that can work for you.
That's the key.
So,
That's absolutely key.
I think Kevin Coyle gets a ton of credit because, I mean, you look at pretty much any defensive statistic in UCLA was 120 to 130.
That's terrible.
To what, like they just could not do anything. They were getting how hard was a tackle for loss for this team to get in the first few games? There was just, you felt like they couldn't get a negative play. They were getting tackles for losses in this game, at least getting Penn State off of schedule, making them work more. So I think Coyle deserves a ton of credit, along with all the position coaches there defensively, for giving this defense some life and showing that they can provide some resistance.
He absolutely has had an impact on it. And it's funny too, because coming into the season, the defense had lost a lot of talent, and I really think Kaika Malloy was a good coordinator, but for whatever reason, both the offense and the defense were completely lifeless, up until we just saw him this last weekend in Penn State. So, give Coyle all the credit that you want, because he deserves it. Because whether it's getting back to fundamentals or whatever it is, some message was heard, and they don't need a defense to be lights out this year if the offense was going to be as good as we all thought it was going to be. You're right. You're right, Nick. They just need to cause a turnover or two, get a stop or two, and then let the chips fall where they may, because hopefully the offense is putting up some points. And that leads me around to just your thoughts on Jerry and incoming Noel Mazzoni as a guru or whatever, back to the wonderful Hundley days of 5 plays and 70 points. But how much of an impact do you think that Mazzoni had with Jerry in the 3 whopping whole days they had to plan what they were going to do for this game? And do you have any faith that it is sustainable? Because I just want to emphasize this was a game in which Nico stood out as the guy that collected all the stats, but this was not a game in which he put the team on his shoulders. That whole offense, line, running backs, receivers, quarterback, all just upped their game by a ton, and that's what I think was successful. And that has to go back to not only what the coaches were calling, but how they prepped them. What are you thinking about Mazzoni's impact and Jerry's impact now going forward?
Yeah, Mazzoni only got there. I don't know the exact day, but it might have been Thursday even. So he wasn't around too much. But I think I have to imagine for Jerry, just their relationship and their history going back to the Maury years, that there's a level of comfort there. I'm sure they see the game similarly. And so it's someone there on your shoulder to just help you look at all these little things. So given that, I'm very curious and excited now that all right, you've got a full week together now. What can Jerry, Noel, the rest of this offensive staff come up, not with 2 days of prep time, but a regular week,
a whopping week
prep time? But Wayne and I were talking about this on the pregame show, not trying to, toot our own horn or anything, but we were talking about just quick get guys in space. You mentioned earlier, because I was watching Niners-Rams on that Thursday night, and I grew up a Niner fan. They don't have a great offensive line. They're starting Mac Jones, and it was just, they got that ball out within 2 seconds, and they beat the Rams at SoFi, kind of improbably. They're massive underdogs, all these injuries, and it felt like that was a little bit of what UCLA was coming out and doing. It was they did a better job establishing the run, but a lot of quick passes in those first couple drives just to get a rhythm going and to try and get the defense on their heels and account for everything. If that's what Jerry can pull off from Tuesday at 5 p.m. to Saturday, I'm really excited what a full week looks like.
And one last quick question from me, Nick. Again, thank you for coming on. This is just awesome getting all of your knowledge on the What's Bruin show. I'm so mad we have not had you on here previously, but you just talked about Nico and you just talked about Jerry and having to put this together, but Nico was a big part of this too, and for Jerry to realize what he has in Nico Iamaleava, as well as his offensive line and his receivers and running backs. What can you say about Nico, who has just been battered and bruised by the media since he left Tennessee, and then going 0-4, and people doing these memes saying, "Oh, he's he made a bad decision going to UCLA," and then he comes out and earns the AP National Player of the Week, the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Just what are your thoughts on Nico?
I mean, he wasn't just getting battered by the media; he was getting battered by opposing defenses as well. I mean, he had been taking a beating.
I see what you did there.
Few games. Yeah, but I feel like people started to root for him a little bit this weekend, though, because I mean that was, I think, for people that follow Tennessee closely too. I mean, the Nico that we saw on Saturday was the absolute best version anyone has seen of him in a college uniform. You mentioned earlier about Penn State coming back and UCLA having an answer. I mean, UCLA so many times in this game, not so many, but a few notable times, maybe there's a false start to push you back to 3rd and 10. There were some little miscues that UCLA was able to overcome, and oftentimes it was a 3rd and long, and Nico able to run for it and use his legs. That's another part of the overall narrative too, by the way. Play caller installed on Tuesday at 5 p.m. outfoxes the highest paid coordinator in the country, Jim Knowles, the DC for Penn State.
That's right.
So yeah, that's another thing I missed off the top of the show. But yeah, super happy for Nico because you really saw the full arsenal. We've seen his legs already this season. He's run for a lot of tough yards. He had an easier time running in this game. He did a whole heck of a lot of running, 128 yards, but a lot of that he had wide open space. Maybe just had to make one guy miss, and then he was off. But throwing the ball, I don't want that to get overlooked either, because I thought he had maybe his 3 best throws all season. I'll go early on. I think it was right after the onside kick. He's on the right hash, throws to the wide side of the field for Titus Mokeo Atamalala. I mean, dropped it in the bucket. And then the one to Gilmer down the left seam, double coverage. Like, I'm not sure you could throw the ball better than that. And he's had some struggles on those intermediate to deep balls. It kind of floated on him a little bit.
Yes.
But his precision down the field was as good as it has ever been, not just this year, but even last year. That Gilmer throw, if you haven't gone back and watched it, for anybody listening, there's 2 defenders right there. If it's a foot forward or a foot behind, a hand's getting on it, maybe it's picked, but it is perfectly timed and perfectly dropped into Gilmer. A phenomenal throw. And then even the 2-point, really the whole play, where he has to fish hook around to his left, reset his feet. There's a linebacker or defensive end 2 yards away, and he knows he's going to get destroyed. But Gilmer at the back of the end zone leaks towards the middle. He leads him that way, takes an absolute shot. He was down for a little bit. I don't know if the TV broadcast caught it, but he was down for a better part of 30 seconds, helped back up, and obviously continued. But those 3 plays that he made with his arm, I thought were exceptional.
There's no doubt. And like I said before, that was a full team effort, but Nico was leading the charge on that. And you pointed it out, Nick, so far, him throwing the ball, there has been some room for him to improve, but I'm hopeful that now that kind of the monkey is off of the whole team's back, and hopefully the monkey is off of his back to some extent, because now he showed out on the biggest stage. I'm hoping some of those throws downfield kind of relax a little bit, and now he's hitting people instead of barely missing them, and hopefully they're off to the races with that. But the last thing I want to talk to you about, Nick, is just turn our turn our attention towards this week. They're on the road. They're on the dreaded 9 a.m. West Coast start, playing old Sparty, in their stadium, Spartan Stadium. They're over a touchdown dog at this point, understandably. God, if they had to beat Penn State, they probably would have been a 3-touchdown dog at least, but not anymore. How are you feeling about them following up this amazing victory with not only just a good effort, but maybe getting a win against a team that, like you said, has lost a couple in a row and really has lost a couple in a row to the only real competition they've faced? What are you thinking about Sparty?
Yeah, Michigan State's a really interesting team because Jonathan Smith, we all know, going back to Oregon State and even Washington, but I think everyone widely considers, and rightly so, a really good coach. I was watching the game against Nebraska back this afternoon, actually, and I don't think that was their best effort. But Aiden Childs did not have a great game. He hasn't been throwing the football all that well, but his best weapon is his legs, and he's a really physical guy. I mean, he's 6'3", 225, and so after having just watched Drew Aller, who is bigger than that, but having watched Aller do what he did with his legs, I'm sure UCLA is going to be cognizant of Childs and his ability to run. Nick Marsh, the receiver on the outside, that's an NFL receiver. They don't always get it to him as much as they should, in my opinion. But, I mean, he's a big-bodied guy, 6'3", 203. So if that's Roderick Pleasant's task, and I've been really impressed with him the last couple of weeks, that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. And they want to lean on the ground game. So this will be another good test for UCLA to see if that run defense can carry forward. Penn State was able to run the football in this game. They just were forced to get away from it. They still ran it for 5 yards a carry. So they want to lean, Michigan State does, on Mekhi Frazier. He's a big part. They're going to get him upwards of 20 touches if they can. But they're not going to, they're not one of those electric offenses. It's kind of, you remember Jonathan Smith. You're going to see some I formation. They're going to get a fullback in there, lots of play action. They'll take some selective deep shots, but they try to be really balanced. Defensively, I feel like UCLA, if they can replicate what they did against Penn State, they should be able to score some points. I mean, Michigan State's defense has not been that great. I mean, they were in a dogfight with Boston College, and BC looks like one of the worst teams in Power Conference to this point.
No doubt.
I like so Jalen Thompson, one of their defensive end. He's a beast. Jordan Hall, the linebacker. They've got a really good front seven, but they look a little susceptible in the back end. So if UCLA's line can hold up, hopefully there's an opportunity for UCLA to make more of those deep shots. But I think this could be a heck of a game. I think there's a little heat under the seat of Jonathan Smith. Nothing crazy, but I think fans over there in East Lansing, and I've got family in Western Michigan, so I've followed Michigan State as a program for a number of years. They had so many good years with D'Antonio, and then even Tucker had the one really good year. Like, even though it's not an easy place to win, those fans have had a lot of good moments over the years. So they, just like you pointed out, that they haven't really beaten a quality opponent. The fans know that too. And then having those back-to-back road losses against SC and Nebraska, I kind of wonder if this is a little bit of a kitchen sink type of game for Jonathan Smith and Michigan State. I know we're going to get their best effort for sure. Hopefully UCLA can as well. You mentioned the 9 a.m. Pacific time kick. Selfishly, fine with me, because we're going to get back on that plane, and I'm going to be sleeping. I'm going to be sleeping in my own bed Saturday night. So I'm fine with that. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully that's not an issue for this team. They won on the road, playing at Rutgers, a 9 a.m. kick last year. Granted, different team, but I think and hope that that's maybe a little bit overblown. just got to be ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen way too many Stanford games where they went out to the East Coast and got, crushed in some game they're heavily favored in. So I'm a little traumatized by that. But I love that you pointed to that Rutgers game, because that does give me a little more hope. But it's refreshing having some hope, because, like 7 days ago, we wouldn't have been thinking this. We were like, oh my God, this is going to be such a slog. But oh my gosh, Mike, do you have anything else?
I just wanted to say, Nick, thank you so much. I think I told you that this conversation will probably be about 10, 15 minutes long, and you gave us well over a half an hour. So first off, thank you very much. And again, I'm so mad that we have not had you on the show before.
Well, now you can't say that anymore, right?
I cannot, yeah.
Nick,
just like UCLA football, guys, better late than never, right?
Absolutely.
Hey there.
And you are absolutely welcome on the show anytime you would like, and we really appreciate having you on. It's Nick Cope, everybody, and just listen to him on the pre-half and post for the football games on 790, and then for the basketball stuff that he's going to do the same thing, I imagine. And the podcast isn't in the podcast catcher yet. I'm sorry, UCLA. What is it? UCLAathletics.com, or what is it, Nick?
UCLABruins.com/podcasts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And make sure to listen to the Bruin Insider Show now on Thursdays at 7 p.m., correct?
Yes, 7 o'clock, 790. You got it. Thursdays. Appreciate it, guys.
And you can hit the button on that page that he just listed. So cool. Very good. Nick Cope, everybody. And gosh, it's been fun. And you have a great night, brother. And have safe travels.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's do it again. Had a ton of fun.
Do you think we drink too much?
No, we don't drink too much. Men face reality, women don't. That's why men need to drink.
I hate it when podcasters talk about what they're drinking.
What else am I going to drink, Bob? A fucking Fresca?
No, we're not talking about Frescas today. In
Not
fact,
tonight, baby.
We are celebrating a wonderful UCLA victory over Penn State. Top 10 team defeated. Kicked out of the top 25, actually. But, Mike, it's a great night on the What's Bruin show. The What's Bruin Symposium is back. Conversation over drinks is what we're having. I got a bottle. You got a can. What's on your can there, brother?
Well, I was trying to go to Paperback, who has a litany, a plethora of beers, both of the IPA, pale ale, blonde, and whatnot, stout.
Your favorite's IPAs, yes?
Yes, exactly. I was trying to look for one of their zombie IPAs because it seemed to fit the situation, because UCLA, even for one game, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but even for just one game, they have resurrected themselves and come back from the dead, but did not find it. Still, I found this wonderful liquid called Tucked In by Strangers, West Coast style Indian Pale Ale.
Still by Paperback, right?
And still by Paperback, yes. And this is just one creepy ass. They have some of the best can cover displays.
Looks like something out of a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, seriously. It's like three robbers just having a beer next to this guy who's freaked out in his bed, but still. Just absolutely amazing brews coming out from Paperback in Glendale. Absolutely love it. And yeah, couldn't get the zombies, but I got some equal creepiness, question marks, whatever.
It's pretty sick.
Jake, what's on your menu?
In celebration of this wonderful Bruin victory, I'm having Eagle Rare, aged 10 years. Because it's a rare victory by the Bruins. Like, you don't get some of these come around. They don't come around too often.
God, no.
So we need to soak it in, enjoy it. Let the players prepare. Let the coaches prepare. We're going to enjoy this victory right up until they kick off against Sparty at 9 a.m. on Saturday. I would, at this point, I would normally tell you this is your time to give the What's Bruin Show your $2. But I'll just say, as you heard at the beginning of the show, hey, don't worry about subscribing. I'm not going to take off the slack if you cancel. But sponsor me in the link below for my next half marathon, which will be on January 18th at the Rose Bowl. That'll be a lot of fun.
Self-plug.
So
I see how it is.
Look for the link down there. And thank you very much. I'm glad the What's Bruin Show is back, at least for this week. If they go 0-4 again, we're canceling again. We'll sometimes tell you about it. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for your support. Mike, what a great interview with Nick Cope.
I love that dude.
And
He's
after
awesome.
we got off the air, we talked to him. He actually is local to us. So next time he comes on, he's going to be in studio.
Oh, hells yeah.
Which I love.
Mhm.
I'll have to cook or something. But thank you once again, Nick Cope, for joining the show. And it's been
Thank you,
long
sir.
overdue, but now it's done. So wonderful. Yet another illustrious, wonderful guest on the What's Bruin Show electronic airwaves. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Mike, before we get to what's brewing with you, I do want to talk a little bit about, well, number one, a tweet that you happened to send out like immediately following the game. You geeked up, motherfucker.
I was geeked up.
Oh my God, Mike! After
I had
UCLA,
a few brews.
My God,
I'm just saying.
There's Mike with his Bruin boner raging.
I mean, I'm
oh
trying to get ahead of the
Holy
national
smokes,
media.
Mike. Holy smokes! What are we doing?
Well, that's the national media's job. Is just like, oh, well, what's happening in the future? And literally after this game, just like this game ended at like 4 p.m. So we had the whole evening, night to think about what's next for UCLA. Not just, oh, they're at Michigan State, but it hit me. I was like, okay, this UCLA team, if this UCLA team that we saw against Penn State is the UCLA team for 2025, what does that mean for the rest of the schedule? And the rest of the schedule is at Michigan State, at home versus Maryland, at Indiana, at home versus Nebraska, at Ohio State, at home versus Washington, and at USC, which is basically a home game. What can UCLA do? And yes, I am jumping the shark. I'm jumping the gun, looking ahead, because we're afforded that luxury. UCLA, Tim Skipper is not. He has to focus on this next game. He probably has assistant coaches who are looking ahead, but we have the luxury of going, what the F is next? So, Jake, really quickly, if you don't mind, if this team that showed up against Penn State shows up the rest of the way, and we have 7 games. UCLA needs to win 5 of those to at least be bowl eligible. I say they do it.
That's great, Mike. I'm glad you say they do it.
Win against Michigan State, win against Maryland, loss against Indiana, win against Nebraska, loss against Ohio State. Washington's going down, USC is going down. I said it right now. And yes, this is coming off a high. This is coming off a super high.
Sounds rumpy pumpy.
I've never been higher than I have been at this moment, which seems...
UCLA is a team now we're going to have to start talking about. UCLA is a team now we're going to have to start talking about.
I mean, at least for this week, it's great that UCLA got the national attention.
Mick Cronin did a hell of a job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Mick Cronin had, he had the offensive game plan here. So
Mike, you know what I say to we're going to go 5-2 to end the season?
What? Sounds rumpy pumpy.
Is it inconceivable? No. Is it less likely than UCLA beating Penn State at the Rose Bowl in a game where they dominate most of the game?
No.
Like they take it to Penn State, not on a fluke, but they would just win the game. It's more likely than that. I'll give you that. I will give you that right now. It's more likely. UCLA is more likely to win a bowl or to go to a bowl game than they were to beat Penn State last Saturday. So we got that going for us.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still, and one of my favorite Blues Brothers quotes, it's like, it's 100 miles Chicago. It's raining and yada, 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 and we're wearing sunglasses. The Bruins are still wearing their sunglasses. They still are. There's still a lot that has to happen for them to, quote unquote, turn the season around. But it turned on a dime with this Penn State game in that we all thought it was going to be 0-12. And now not only is it not going to be 0-12, but absolutely you can see a version of events where they win multiple games, which was, once again, inconceivable, 6 days ago. Absolutely inconceivable. And Mike, I'm not going to go as far as to say they're going to make a bowl game like my boy over here.
Sounds rumpy pumpy.
But what I will say is...
I'm not saying they will make a bowl game.
You just said it!
I'm saying...
You just said it, motherfucker!
It's possible.
You just said it.
I'm saying there's a possibility.
Well, everything's possible.
Monkeys
can fly to your butt right now,
you know
Mike.
What, Jake? You know what,
An
Jake?
asteroid could come crashing onto my house.
I will say it right now.
Everything's possible.
I will say it right now. UCLA is going 5-2 in their last 7 games, and they're going to a bowl game. El Paso, baby, we're going there.
Sounds rumpy pumpy.
Hey, no one would love that more than me. It would be wonderful.
I mean, okay, hypotheticals.
I think it's whatever offense manages to score more points.
I don't know why that's relevant.
That's still
that
sage,
is
sage
actually
advice.
that is
advice.
absolute.
That is
just dominating wisdom.
I'm just saying, but
you're 5-2.
I mean,
that's
I mean, this is Hollywood level
Bruin bonus.
material. Can you imagine UCLA
You couldn't
starting
write-
off 0-4?
You couldn't write
and
it.
ending their season 6-6, going to a bowl game.
Mike, you just stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, look. Okay, work with me here. Now, if you're listening to the What's Bruin Show right now, and you steal this idea, I'm going to come to your house and do terrible things to you. But
Jake has
Mike,
access to.
Let's not talk about what I can do or what I can't do. Let's just say I'm a man of some means. Okay, let's just say that I might be a man with a particular set of skills.
We're more punk rock than you.
We are more punk rock than you, son of a bitch. Oh my god. The What's Bruin Show
is more punk than you.
Okay, but getting back to the point, right? Stay on target.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Look, Mike, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't think the Bruins are going to go 5-2 and end the season in the bowl. I think that's
sounds
rumpy
pumpy.
But what I will say is this: if just like when the Bruins were 0-1, and I said we're going to cancel the show at 0-4, which we did for a week.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you this: if the Bruins go to a bowl game, because that would be an incredible turnaround where they at least go 5-2 down the stretch, right?
Yeah.
That's what they would have to do. If the Bruins go to a bowl game, Mike, you and I are going to write a screenplay about this season because that's the thing that things are made of.
I'm in.
We're going to get it option and we're going to be, $100 in errors.
Oh, this is going to be amazing.
No one's going to buy it, but we're going to write a fucking script of this movie because it will be like a movie.
This is going to be better than Unnecessary Roughness.
Unbelievable. Like you can't write this shit.
Yeah.
Because you got the Neuheisel of it all. You got the freaking turnaround of it all. You got the firing all the coaches of it all.
Now I got to think
if they make a bowl game,
who's going to play Tim Skipper?
Literally,
who's going to play Jerry Neuheisel?
Let's
Who's
not
going to
get
play Nico?
Mike,
God,
it's not.
Now
gonna
you
happen.
have me thinking.
Mike, it's not going to happen. But if it does, we're writing a movie.
Oh, it's happening.
If it does, we're writing a movie.
happening.
We're writing a movie.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways.
It's on.
Okay,
It's on.
Mike, stay on target. Okay, we got to get to the chopper at some point.
All right, really, okay. Really quickly. Two things, Jake.
Yeah, sure.
Two things.
Yeah.
What is your final score against Michigan State?
I don't care.
I do.
I don't
because
care.
this is part of our thing. Spit something out. 2-0.
Well, what's your final score? You tell me.
Oh God, I'm having UCLA edging this out. 35-32.
35-32. Okay. My final score. Well, no. See, I can't go with my normal snarky final score because I think the offense is actually semi-cured.
Right.
Okay, fine. For a week, I'll let Mike reinvigorate my Bruin boner. Thank you, Mike. And we're going to say Bruins win 30-28. No.
A close one.
30-27.
30-27. Okay.
Yeah, 30-27.
And my second point. We really haven't gotten your thoughts on Jerry Neuheisel. Not only, yes, he is.
What are your thoughts about Jerry Neuheisel?
Oh God,
that hair.
I love him. The hair.
That hair.
He has better hair than me. Who does that?
I know.
God damn it.
And Cope hit it right on the head where you talk about like the stuff that you can't really write.
Yeah.
And like him calling the game after the Texas thing. And all I had to say was Sarah, who cares less, she could not care any less about college football. But I said, you remember when we were at that game with Bill when he got us stuck on the plane for 72 hours and he's a dick? And Bill, we hate you for that moment, although we love you otherwise. Remember how they won that game and we were all just like triumphant and triumphant evermore?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah. I said, that's the guy that's the coach. Like, it actually like triggered some memories.
So what are your thoughts really quickly on Mr. Jerry Neuheisel?
This is what I'm going to say. We went back to Tino and being overly complicated, the RPOs, right? And for whatever reason, at least for a week, but you talk about Jerry Neuheisel, the play caller. And this is something that I talked about on the post game. It's something that Wayne talked about on the show. You can't understand too about a play caller. And that is just, it's not just about what plays you call, Mike, but it's also about the sequencing of the plays you call.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing when to call the right play at the right time. And not everybody can do that. And the biggest drawback we had with Tino coming into the season was he never called plays before.
Yeah.
Because the guy at Indiana, the killer out there, he was the guy that runs that offense and Tino was the protege. And that doesn't mean that Tino can't call plays. I'm saying, like, I think now we hit it on the head earlier in the show where we talked about how maybe just the RPOs are a little too complicated for these guys to digest and to execute, at least right now. But one thing I do think I know about Jerry, at least for one game, is that it looks like he might have the touch.
Oh my God.
You got the touch. You got the power.
There's nothing like a iconic movie about
I'm just saying
1970s, 80s
Transformers
valley porn.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Boogie Nights, talking about the song that was actually from Transformers, a movie. But yes, yeah, that's. But
right.
You and Bill singing it are definitely from Boogie Nights.
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
Definitely.
But anyways, look, it's going to remain to be seen how it goes the rest of the season. But at least for one night, Jerry had the touch, man. Like,
yeah, seriously,
he knew when to call the plays and how to call them, and it was wonderful. And if that's what we have stumbled upon, then who knows? You know, what Jerry can do.
He's
He
a
certainly
coach's
has the
kid.
He certainly has the lineage.
Yeah,
right?
He's played, he's coached.
But
yeah,
but, and I'm just like listening to what's out there in the Bruin ether, right? And this is the one thing that I'm going to play the sounds rumpy pompy and the air horns over.
Sounds rumpy pumpy.
And that is that we know anything about Tim Skipper or Jerry Neuheisel or whoever any of these coaches are on this roster, or the players for that matter. We don't know anything about them at this point other than what we just saw in this one game. And I personally, Mike, and I want to know what you think about this, but I personally don't think we should spend any time at all, right now, thinking about whether or not these guys qualify as candidates for any position on the coaching staff for the following year. And the reason I say that is that we just went through an 0-4 start.
Mm-hmm.
They fired Deshaun Foster, and Tino Sunseri and Akeka Malloy left for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And this one victory shouldn't catapult anybody into any sort of contention at all. It's still a blank slate.
No, exactly.
But do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
Oh, totally. But considering what has been going on for the last 20 years, 3 seasons, 4 months, UCLA fans should revel in this at least until Thursday.
Live in the moment.
At least until Saturday morning.
Live in the moment. That's absolutely true.
Exactly.
But you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, we aren't going to worry about whether or not these guys are going to coach UCLA beyond this year at all right now. But I do reserve the right to say down the line, if there is sustained success, well, then now we can consider it, right? We can be in the running, but do not consider that at all right now. We're talking about like at the end of the season, we look at what the final product is, and then you can make those conclusions, deductions, or whatever. But right now, just enjoy the moment, let it go where it goes, and let's just try to have some fun with a season that had no fun at all before a few days ago. Sound good?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Mikey?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you, bud?
Dude, it was as some of you know, it was a birthday week last week. So it's weird. Every birthday, I like taking my kids to this one restaurant, which has become our favorite restaurant. And in the last few years, the kids like basically preempt me like 4 months in advance, going, "Hey, are we going to Bulan Thai for your birthday?" And I'm like, "Yes, we are." So as per tradition, once again, hit up Bulan Thai in the East Hollywood area. And this year, I'm just feeling a little bit more free.
It's good.
Just a little bit more
Mikey
liberal with my money.
I don't know.
I was like, I told the kids,
you've been more liberal than you are right now, Mike.
I have.
I'm just telling you.
I have. Yeah, hidden joke there. Anyway, Jake. So we go there as we do, and I told the kids, order anything you want. Obviously joking,
nice.
But if you've never been to Bulan Thai, this is just a fantastic vegetarian, vegan Thai food place. and it is just such delicious food. They have so many. Their menu is endless, and there were so many good things on the menu. So, and you definitely do have to have appetizers, then the main course. But it's basically like a traditional Asian feast where they bring you. They don't bring you individual plates. They bring you like platters, which you serve yourself on. And my God, the kids and I just gorged on spicy hot wings, Radna noodles, spicy. My favorite is the Peking fried rice. Oh, dude, we gorged. And I was telling them like halfway through, I was like, order anything you want. And yeah, at a certain point, they were like, we can't. We're done. I was like, nice. Yeah, those are my kiddos, which is crazy because especially since I have like teenagers, they eat everything in the house.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it was funny. There were like,
I got those.
5 minutes after we left the restaurant, we're like, oh my God, I'm so full. After that, you know, we were like venturing around Hollywood, and we like somehow ended up into we went to get some ice cream, and they all of a sudden were like, "Hey, there's a Spirit Halloween store up the street." I'm like, "Okay, fine," and we go there and we buy a bunch of shit there because we kind of have to. But yeah, so like an hour after, they're all like, "Oh my God, I'm so full." We get home and they're like, "I'm hungry." Yeah. I'm like, of course you are. There's snacks and there's cookies and chips and ice cream and all that. Go do your thing. So, but yeah, no. So we, you know, it was a fun birthday weekend, especially with UCLA pulling out. Yeah, I didn't even think about this. UCLA pulled out this win for my birthday.
It's good.
Damn, good.
They did
good
for
job,
mine.
Bruin. So
they didn't
dicks. Yeah, you guys got to switch that up. But no, it was a good weekend with the kiddos, especially considering all things UCLA. It was just a very fun / surreal weekend. I'm still wondering what the F
crazy
happened,
weekend.
but anyway, Jake, what's brewing with you?
No, I had a crazy weekend too, and it revolved around the Bruins as well because I was slated to run a half marathon, the first one I've done officially. I ran a half marathon just as a practice.
Half marathon of 17 miles?
13.1.
Okay.
And that was before my birthday. The day before my birthday, I went out. We had a big old dinner in San Diego, and then I ran a half marathon very slowly on the 22nd of September. And then on the 4th of October is when we did this one. But it was in Long Beach, and there was like 20,000 people there, and it was a really fun experience.
Nice.
I never experienced anything like that. 14,000 ran the half, 4,000 ran the
I saw
the
it.
full.
Don't you have your tag here?
The medals
your
inside. It was really cool. Yeah. My bib was right here. I was
Dude, you got to put that on the site, bro.
6493. I will. I absolutely will. But anyways, I never experienced anything like that. I know our friend of the show, Jack Rosenfeld, is an avid runner and probably been in multiple marathons and things like that. I'm sure of. He used to have a podcast called Beer on the Run, which is awesome. But bottom line is, I went into this with a strategy, and the strategy was to run really slow at the beginning and then pick it up and like try to hit my time at the end with the strength that I would have that I was conserving. All that shit went out the window. I got out there. I was all geeked up. I was there with one of our UCLA friends, Tuck Bowie, who
nice Tuck, yeah.
And he's much skinnier and he's done more of these than me.
Yeah, the guy's like 97 pounds.
Yeah, and he runs much faster than I do. But anyway, so he was kind of hanging out with me at the beginning, but at the beginning, like I was just with the pack and I was like running. I'm like, holy shit, I'm like, I feel good. I'm all juiced or whatever. And so I ended up running my fastest 10K to start and then my slowest 10K to end. But it still equaled out to me hitting my goal.
Yeah, but that's like...
I was dying the last mile and a half.
Yeah,
I was dying.
Your last mile and a half, that's like asking you to, hey, run a mile and a half. Oh, by the way, we're going to take out your knees.
Yeah, it was rough at the end, but I enjoy the experience, and I'm already signing up for another one that's going to be at the Rose Bowl.
You know
which
how many half
miles
miles you've done that other people have not?
There you go.
Jake.
A lot.
You're a baller.
It was fun. You're
a baller, man.
It was a very fun. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. It was a very fun experience, and I really enjoyed it. But I don't know if I said this on the postgame or not, but like the Bruins totally screwed me up because I was expecting them to get pounded. I was expecting to not have to pay any attention to the game at all.
Did they throw you off your game?
Well, I'm supposed to go down there on Saturday to go pick up my bib and like get ready, and we're going to enjoy the evening in Long Beach and all that stuff. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like the Bruins are winning against Penn State at the Rose Bowl, and I'm sitting here watching the TV, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to leave. But we have to get down there to race down to go get my bib from the site, and then luckily Cindy and Tuck went and got it for me. But we had already started to leave, and then I'm hitting traffic. And then I get down there, and I'm like, well, shit, now I got to do a post game. And I'm like, I was like, it was crazy. Like, I've never been happier to be inconvenienced by the Bruins. Like, it was great. it was very inconveniencing. I'm just saying, you know, it was like
that's
really,
actually perfect. Like
I put a hitch in my giddy up.
Football is inconveniencing us with their success.
Yeah, years and years of inconveniencing us. At least they won the game, right? So
right, exactly.
But that was my What's Brewing. I was really excited about it. Mike, I don't really ever. I'm not on. I have a Facebook account. I don't post on it. I have an Instagram. I don't post on it. I have Twitter. I don't really post on it. Right? Like we'll do stuff for the show.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sending out anything about me. I sent every motherfucker I know a picture of me standing in front of the marathon. I changed my Apple profile picture to be like me standing there looking all like like a G or whatever. And so I am taking some pride in doing it. I'm
Jake.
I'm happy with it.
Bump it, bitch.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I am enjoying the moment a little bit.
With respect.
And many more. Yes, that's right. And hopefully many more of these, my knees don't fall off my body. So I did have a very good experience, even though, you know,
It was an emotional weekend.
I was dying at the end.
It was a very emotional weekend.
Kind of like the Bruins, I held on for victory.
Yeah,
I just barely held on. I took a safety at the very end just to preserve my time. That's exactly what it was. All right. Guys, thank you very much for listening. Once again, the caller show that we did was unprecedented. More calls we ever gotten for any show.
Yeah.
That's on before this. Also, I'm on the Raina Troy podcast and their YouTube. This week, I did like a 5 or 6 minute segment on that. That was fun to listen to. Also, the post game that I did from the Penn State game was on there. Mike, did you do anything this week you want to plug?
I did a quick after game Bruin talk
on Spaces.
On Spaces,
but we can't recover that, can we?
Or
can we?
I should. You can recover it like within the first 24 hours.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that, but I didn't take calls. It was basically a reaction on my way home.
Very good.
As I said, you know, I had my weekend with my kiddos as well, so they take precedent. So, but yeah, no, it's nice to have that channel to talk about this stuff, and I do wish I got more fan reaction, which I'm gonna try to, you know.
Well,
whether
you might now.
Yeah.
At 0-4, you're not going to get shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe now if they play better, then you might.
Oh, at 0-4, I got shit, and it was
bad shit.
Shit.
You know, and by the way, to put a pin in the conversation, we talked about the coaching staff. Don't judge any of these guys on anything right now.
No,
we have to wait for sustained success. This also puts a pin in the whole, like the Jarmon controversy and all the stuff going on with UCLA football. None of that really changes.
That's a good point.
None of it changes. It's just changing the stakes for the season right now. But all the long-term stuff is still in play.
Yeah. Like I said, like before the game, banner, oh my God, fire Jarmon, UCLA is going to get their butts kicked by Penn State. There have been a few people fire Jarmon still, which, you know, to each their own.
I'm not going to say you're wrong yet. I'm not. I'm not.
Well, whether I'm wrong, right or wrong on that, it doesn't matter because UCLA's huge win over Penn State. That's been the feel good story.
Yes.
Feel good with that just until Saturday.
For a week, we can put it away.
Yeah, exactly.
But like,
God.
But what I'm getting at is, and I'm sure we heard some of this on the call-in show as well. But it's like you don't have to put all that stuff away right now. Like that can still be there, but it shouldn't prevent us from enjoying this wonderful UCLA victory.
Yeah.
So until next week, right? And I guess I'll do a post-game show for Michigan State. I guess most likely, unless it's like just dreadful. We'll see.
Yeah, Michigan State 72-0.
No matter what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something. But it might be for God help us if it's another Walrus episode.
Oh my God,
something will get published. But anyways,
that's cool.
There's been a lot of content this week for you guys from the What's Bruin Show. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
Until next time, gosh, we need to get out of here. Mikey, what do we say?
Go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin Show.
Oh my God.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's got to be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, Rob, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.